Got a clap for the NHS. Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. And I hope you guys have been having yourself a great day today. The sun has been shining here in the UK. It really has been a beautiful day today. It really has. But of course, can only go out once in it. But I made the most of it when I did go out. So it was great. Now, we are here, of course, to talk all things Arsenal. And I've got a couple of very special guests along with me today. I've got Afzal. How you doing, Afzal?
Hi, Robbie. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, bro. Good. And also, I've got Livz. Livz, how are you?
What's up? What's happening, Robbie? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Afzal, you first, man. How's life treating you in this this lockdown?
Yeah, I'm stuck at home like everyone else, you know, just trying to keep sane, doing a few exercises a week, indoor exercises, working from home. That's it.
Yeah. What about you, Livz? What have you been up to?
Same, to be fair. With the family, obviously it's Ramadan as well.
Yeah.
So I've just been spending some time with the family, just chilling. And yeah, man, that's it. Doing a bit of exercise now and then, you know what I mean?
Now and then. What does that mean? Now and then.
You know, obviously, you know, I got some issues with my ankles, so I like to, you know, I don't like to really go ham, but I like to change my body.
Who are you? What issues with your ankle?
I don't know. You know, when I was young, I just ended up because I broke one time when I was young. I must have broke my ankle, and I feel like since then I've always had a fragile ankle, so it will twist easily.
The Somalian Kim Kallstrom. Well, listen, it's great to have you guys here today, man. I mean, I miss both of you, man. You know, talking to you after games and stuff like that. And we're here to talk Arsenal. As usual, everybody out there, get your comments coming in as well. We've been having some fantastic responses over the past few weeks. It really has been incredible from everybody out there. And first of all, as I said, let me just once again big up everybody in the NHS. I can hear where I live. I can hear people around me even out there clapping as I speak. So that's awesome that people are still respecting the brilliant job that they're doing. And as I said this morning as well, you know, it's not just the NHS, it's the care workers and all that as well. There's also all the people that work in the shops and stuff like that as well. They've been doing a fantastic job as well. So, you know, there's a lot of people out there who've been putting themselves out there right on the front line, you know, and we've got to send a lot of respect to them. So, guys, let's get straight into it. The big subject that's seemed to have emerged tonight is this story about yet again Aubameyang. He's featured in literally every story that's been out there since, you know, this whole coronavirus thing started. You forget that we're not even in transfer season yet, but of course he's only got 1 year left on his contract, so he's going to be subject to lots of transfer speculation. The latest one is that Mario Icardi, of course, has been on loan at PSG. His loan move is going to come to an end, especially now that the season is finished over there in France, and he's returning to his parent club, which is Inter Milan. Now, Inter Milan don't want to keep him. He's had lots of problems with his missus, who's his agent, and him and Inter Milan. He's falling out with the fans there. They're keen to sell him. Now, the rumor is they're willing to do a swap deal, and we know that Arsenal have already come out, you know, and said that this summer it could be a case of swap deals and loan deals. They're apparently willing to do a swap deal with Aubameyang. Now, of course, Aubameyang only got a year left, as I said. Now, it's quite interesting because, you know, Icardi is a very, very good striker. You know, he is a good striker. And I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Would you do that? I mean, let me start with you, Afzal. Would you do that swap deal, Icardi, Aubameyang? If I remember, this is all speculation. We're not saying that, you know, it's just that this is what's out there at the moment.
I think it's 100% speculation, and I think it will not happen. I tend to drift away from transfer news usually because it kind of does my head in. So whenever transfer season starts, I switch off. I'm not going to lie. Would I do it? No, I wouldn't. I think Aubameyang is top 3 strikers in the Premier League. I think he's world class. He's the only world class player we have. He's our best player, as everyone knows. But that's the thing, Robbie. I think we're going to have to sell him this summer. I mean, it's
if you're gonna have to sell him, right, and he does go. I mean,
Icardi's an option. Jimenez, Icardi is an option for sure. He scored 20 goals in all competitions for PSG this season. He scored 12 in the league. He started, I believe, he was a first-team player. He started about 70% of the league games. Obviously, Inter Milan have got 2 good strikers, so I don't see him in Inter Milan's team. He would be an option, but I would prefer Aubameyang. Like, if you had to say to me, which one would you prefer? Aubameyang all day long. He's proven in the Premier League. He hits 20 goals every season. But this is what I'm worried for, Robbie. I think Arsenal are going to sell him. I'm not going to blame Arsenal if they sell him, because it's either you sign a new contract or you got to go. It's simple as that. As much as how much I love him and I want him to stay, in this climate, this current climate, we're approaching a recession. We're going to have to sell him or either make him sign a new contract. And in my opinion, he will not sign a new contract unless we get Champions League football. Will we get Champions League football? I don't think so. Therefore, Arsenal are going to have to sell him. That's my opinion.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Livz, Icardi, if we did have to sell him, Icardi swap deal for Aubameyang, would you be up for that?
Look, I rate Icardi, experienced striker. I think he's done well since he joined PSG. I think he got 20 goals in 31 appearances. But I do feel like Aubameyang's better than him. And if we're going to replace Aubameyang, I don't think Icardi would be the ideal option. So I feel like
he's a top striker and a goal.
He's a top striker. I rate him, but I feel like like he's off the field behaviour. The politics he's got himself involved. I don't feel like that would be the right person to come into the squad.
Yeah, but we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that off-field behaviour this season in Paris. He's done really, really well. And remember, before we signed Aubameyang, there was talk of, off-field, he'd done this and done that. I mean, Icardi does have a history. We know that. And him and his wife, who's his agent, they've had a big history between him and Inter Milan, where he's fallen out with fans and that. But he's a top player, isn't he? I mean,
he's a top player.
100%. If we lost Aubameyang, that's the grade of player that you're looking to come in to replace him, or you don't think he's on the same level?
I don't think he can deliver what Aubameyang can deliver, and especially Aubameyang's already proven in the Premier League. I feel like Aubameyang, for me, selling Aubameyang will be a big loss for us, because Aubameyang, everywhere he's gone, he's been successful in terms of scoring goals. Statistically, he's always been great. I feel like if the club want to show ambition, they should match Aubameyang's demands. Maybe Aubameyang's looking at us thinking, how are they going to convince me to stay? What would they be doing in the transfer market? What type of contract would they offer me? He might be looking at Mesut Ozil's on 350k a week, thinking, you know what, that's what I should be on. I'm the one saving the team. I'm the one bringing the goods. Maybe the club should come out of the way and offer me that. But the club could be thinking, hey, he's reaching 31 now. We don't really want to be offering that player who's in that age bracket that sort of money. So, end of the day, I feel like it's all he say, she say. But I feel like if we want to compete, we've got to keep Aubameyang and build around him.
Okay. Kyle B said, I'd take Icardi for Aubameyang if Aubameyang chose to leave. No, you wouldn't take him, Afzal?
No, see, Robbie, he's a very good player, but he's not Premier League proven. And again,
no, Aubameyang wasn't Premier League proven before he came here, innit? You get any player.
What I'm trying to say is that I'd rather have someone has been proven in the league before. Like, for example, Icardi, he's got a lot of off-field problems. First of all, the situation with Maxi Lopez, that was really messy for him in Argentina and in Italy. All right.
Years ago, man.
Yeah, I know it was ages ago, but it's still part of politics. Obviously, the problem he had with the Inter Milan fans. I rate him. I think he's a very good player. And obviously, I'm getting the impression that Arsenal might sell Aubameyang for just, say, around 50 million. There's no way we're going to spend more than 50 million on a replacement. They'll be desperate, Robbie. Look, we saw it with Van Persie in 2012. We saw it with Sanchez. Look what happened with Sanchez, the mess. We didn't sell him in the 2017 transfer window. So we did a desperate swap with Man United a few months later, and that turned out to be a mess with us. I think the club will look at it and say, look, either he signs a contract or we're going to have to sell him. And I hope we can't sell him to a rival. Please. No rival.
That's what I'm saying. So if we did have to sell him, rather than him go to Chelsea, Or rather, to me, if he had to go, Icardi, I'd be happy with. If he had to go, because I mean, like this guy,
I wouldn't complain.
I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, he's the guy who's gonna like. I'd be happy, but I wouldn't expect him to fill. I wouldn't expect him to get the 25 goals that Aubameyang does. He'll have to share it with that's when Martinelli comes in. Martinelli can be a very important player for us next season. Arteta needs to play him, because we've seen his potential this season. I was a bit disappointed after the Burnley away game, Arteta stopped to play him, but this is where Martinelli needs to be drifted in. I'm not saying he should be our main striker every week, because that's unfair on him. He's a kid and it would be too much pressure, but you get a good striker, maybe someone like Icardi, someone like maybe even Jimenez from Wolves. You don't know. Okay, people were saying Aubameyang's much better than Jimenez. Of course he's better than Jimenez, but we're not in a position to start saying, we want this player, we want that player, because it's not going to happen, Robbie. We've got no Champions League football to offer them, and I believe we will not have high wages to offer the player.
All right, let me just get lots of comments coming in on this. Red White Guna says, dead conversational point. Icardi is a liability, bad behaviour problems, don't need him, but he behaved all right last year in France and was banging in the goals that helped them to, well, they won the league. It was handed to them, but they would have won the league anyway.
No, I was impressed. I was impressed with Icardi in his performance for PSG. I was actually impressed. I didn't think he was going to do that well.
He didn't make no trouble there, did he? He didn't give no trouble.
He didn't. He didn't.
Cot D9 says Abba has scored goals everywhere, and he even scored in that trash Arsenal team. What more proof do you all need? Listen, we all know Aubameyang is a great player, right? He's a world-class player. Icardi is a top player. Right, and how I'm looking on it is this, right? And as I said, this is just a rumor. We know that, but if that rumor were to be true and it was, a swap deal, I'd take it. Right, Icardi's younger. I think he's about 27. He's a little bit younger. Icardi is a proven goal scorer everywhere he's been. When he was in Italy, he may have gave problems, but he was a top goal scorer, right? And he's quality. And he would be playing for that Argentinian team had he not had that falling out with Maxi Lopez. And he's kind of an outspoken guy. But if that was to be the replacement for me, that's a good replacement. I'm just going by me. This guy FIFA says, Robbie, if Stan has I think he means Stan here. If Stan has any ambition, now is the time to invest in reduced prices for players. Will mean more money will allow us to get players on the cheap. And it is going to be a buyer's market now. And I think, Afzal, when you say 50 million, I can't see any club right now paying 50 million pounds for Aubameyang in this current climate where money is going to be so short, even for the biggest of teams. They're not going to pay.
Trying to get a bargain.
He's worth more.
Definitely be trying to get a bargain.
He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, but he's worth more than 50 million, in my opinion. But like I said, it's going to be around 40
in
million.
normal times.
We've put it on ourselves. We've let it down. We've let him run up his contract. We've let him. We're the ones that put ourselves in this position, like we have with previous players. So I wouldn't be surprised if clubs come and offer us a 30 million for Aubameyang and be like, here, look, that's what we're offering you. So either take it or leave it.
I mean,
otherwise you can go on the free.
If he gave us, he's still going on about Stan Kroenke. He said if he gave us 130 million, 30 million to cover the losses, 34 million for Upamecano, 43 million for Partey, and the rest plus player sales for Kai Havertz. I think he's dreaming a bit. I mean, there was this story that came out this morning about Stan Kroenke had made a profit of 323 million pounds this year. I did caution people to say that you've got to remember that figure was the money he at the start of this year. That's pre-coronavirus. We don't know how much money he would have lost. But do you guys think he should be putting money in?
100%.
Okay,
he has to. That's his role of being the owner at the club. Right now, we're in a position where we definitely need injection into the club. We definitely need to make some signings to help us improve, to actually help Arteta get to where he wants to get. Currently, we're 9th, and that's not where we should be. So it's clear to see we do need some work in the transfer market done. And I feel like Arteta's coming to the side. He's identified the areas that he wants to perfect. So Stan has got to come in as the owner and back the club and Arteta.
Okay, what about you on that, Afzal?
Let's get this. We spent money, Robbie. Last summer, we spent 141 million. The year before, we spent 137 million. Stan has spent money. We've just spent it on the wrong players. And that's why we're ninth. Not because Stan has failed to spend money. Last season, well, in the summer of 2019, out of the top 6 clubs, we spent the most. We spent more than Man City. We spent more than Man U. We spent more than Liverpool. But in my opinion, we did not spend it on the right positions. We needed a top centre-back. We should have spent 70 million on a centre-back rather than 70 million on a winger. That's what we needed. And if Aubameyang leaves, I'm sorry, I can't blame him, because since he's been at the club, we haven't had Champions League football. And a player of that calibre will only want Champions League football. And if Stan does not spend this summer, look, we can't expect him to spend 150 million this summer, Robbie. Look what's going on in the world right now. It's not possible. Stan will not be spending that much money. He will probably be
not 150 million, but
that guy
couldn't he put his hand in his pocket and bring out like a 30, 40 million?
You'll get one of those. He'll buy one of those. And
let me just a slight rewind here. Yeah, all this big amount of money he spent. What was the net, as was famously said by Mo? The net spend.
It was about 98 million.
Roughly.
98 million, roughly, which is still a decent amount. And I'm not going to turn on the club or turn against the club.
Years of neglect.
When they do not, I'm not going to slate the club when they do not spend money this summer. When, not if, when. Because I understand the current situation the world is in. Not many clubs are going to spend. And I'll understand, Robbie, we are going to lose. If the season doesn't finish, we're going to lose near 100 million pounds. In match day revenue, in TV, we're going to lose that much money. So people need to stop saying, let's buy this player for 50 million. Let's buy this player for 60 million. Let's hope we get one 40 million player and maybe one or two others who are worth 20 million each, you know? We're not going to, or maybe 15, 20.
Hold on 1 second. How he's talking at the moment, or how the club are talking at the moment, is like they're not even going to spend 40 million.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They said loan deals or swap deals, which then brings me back to what I'm saying. If Aubameyang goes, what's wrong with Icardi?
Nothing wrong. Look, Robbie, not taking nothing away from Icardi. I rate Icardi highly, but I feel like we got to look at other alternatives as well. Not saying remove him out of the hat, but we got to look at other
that
alternatives.
might be swap wise.
Luka Jovic from Madrid, who we can get on loan.
Jovic, what you can say, Jovic is better than Icardi.
He's not.
No. I wouldn't say he's better at the moment, but I feel like he's got more potential. He's younger. I feel like Real Madrid wouldn't have signed him for no reason.
No, come on, man. Jovic better than
Jovic was banging goals.
He only scored 2 goals for Real Madrid.
1 season.
2 goals for Madrid.
Look at the quality of goals he was doing. Madrid wouldn't have signed him.
See, my opinion is that
Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world,
choose who we want to buy. We're in trouble. Like I said, we're not going to spend money this summer. Everyone needs to accept that now. We are not going to spend money this summer. What Vinay and all these people said, I fully understand. As a fan, obviously, I don't agree with it, but I fully understand it. So whenever September, whenever the transfer window ends, and we only spend 50, 60 million, I'm not going to moan. Like, I mean, altogether, including everything, because we're not gonna buy big. Let's be realistic. All this party, we're not gonna get him, Robbie. That's 40 million on a player. It's not gonna happen. We're in a coronavirus situation, so I hope our fans don't moan, because obviously when we don't spend the money, our fans are gonna moan at Stan. When we don't do well next season, they're gonna moan at Arteta. It's like a repetitive cycle. But because
you know what? Hold on, Afzal, yeah, right? They've got a right to moan, because over the years we haven't spent enough. And if the aim is to get back into the Champions League football, we're going to have to. This is what Livz is saying. You know, sometimes the owner is going to have to take a hit. You can't just. Obviously, we know the situation is dire with the coronavirus. It's going to affect absolutely every club, but also we don't want our people hiding behind that as well with a lack of spending. I mean, let's get a couple more comments here. Guna Claude TV. That's Guna. That's Claude, sorry. He's saying, are you boys happy with Arteta? We'll come back to that one because we've still got quite a lot of people coming through on this Icardi one. Carl AFTV says his personal life has nothing to do with him as a player. He's a fantastic player. Judge him on his footballing ability, not his personal life. He scores goals wherever he's been, and that's on Icardi. Dr. Viraj says, "Hi Robbie, Icardi ain't a like-for-like replacement for Aubameyang, as Aubameyang is a better striker. Also, if Inter need a striker, why would they sell Icardi to PSG in the first place? He was on loan, by the way. Makes no sense. The reason why he was on loan is the problems he's had between him and the club. It's not because of his ability. Icardi is a top player." Emmanuel Lawrence says, "Let's stop talking options and get behind Aubameyang and make him sign as fans. He may listen to us if we make enough noise." I think he knows that the fans really want him to sign. Rashid Edge says, "If Aubameyang goes, that's top 4 chances down the drain. Guarantees 25 plus. They are hard to find. This will set us back years. Incompetent board. Only after money. Offer him 300k. Well, they might not have that." Football Mania says Icardi is class. I don't know what our fans are smoking. And I like this one in particular. Duo, he says, "Robbie speaking facts." It done.
Can I say one thing, Robbie?
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, you said that Kroenke needs to finally spend. I honestly think 141 million he spent last summer is a good amount of money to invest.
But it's the wrong tap. Maybe we never spent enough.
We didn't spend it on the right
We
player.
just bought a winger, but maybe we needed to actually buy defenders that will come in and make a massive difference.
We needed to buy defenders, but we bought cheap option defenders. That's the
problem.
So he's been here for over 10 years, right?
It's ridiculous.
One season, he put his hand in his pocket and spent a decent amount of money, which was last season. All leading up to that, all we've been doing is spending badly and year in, year out, losing our best players. And again, we seem to be back in that situation. I mean, they really do. I don't want Aubameyang to leave. I don't think nobody wants Aubameyang to leave. We all want him to stay. I really, really want him to stay. However, if he did go, and this was real, and it was a swap deal for Icardi, I'd take that. I think that would be a good replacement. That's a top striker coming in.
If that was the only option, where we have to swap him for Icardi, otherwise lose him on a free, then I would take it. Because I want the club to profit in a sort of way.
I mean, if that's the case, I'd take him as well, Robbie. If we, like I said, lose him for free or do a swap.
Well, that's what it might boil down to, because we've heard.
Then you've got to take him. You can't beg us users. We've got to take him.
We've got to, and hope that he actually bangs. Hope that he actually comes to the Premier League and he does his thing.
Aisha says Aubameyang is a versatile player who can play on the wing, while Icardi is a one-trick pony who can play only as a striker. He is a very central player. That is very, very true. But we got wingers, haven't we?
Yeah, and he scores goals.
He's a good target, man. Though.
He's
a very good target.
At the end of the day, he scores goals at the end of the day. Icardi.
Very good target, man.
Yeah. Let me go back to Livz a second. So you're Jovic.
Say that again.
I said, you telling me that you feel Jovic is better than Icardi?
No, I'm not saying he's better, but I'm saying he's good as well. Not really far off, but Jovic is, I feel that will be the better investment. He's younger, and I feel like the quality of goals that Jovic has scored, I feel like is a bit more higher than Icardi's. But with Jovic as well, him going to Real Madrid, with his current situation, I feel like this will give him more power and more fire, to actually come to the Premier League and succeed. And I feel like in La Liga, it didn't really work out for him. Obviously, brought in by a different manager at that time. So it was like he didn't really fit into Zidane's plans. So I feel like if we were to actually get Jovic, he can actually do well for us on a loan as well.
He had one good season at, in the Bundesliga.
He's both feet as well, Robbie. He's both feet. He can hit a ball. He's good in the air.
Icardi's a different quality to him, in my opinion. You guys, the question that Claude asked earlier about you know, Mikel Arteta, who's come out, has made a lot of comments over the past few days, and it's going to be a big season for him. He's got to navigate us through, you know, all the mess just not of his making because of the coronavirus. How have you guys been with him so far? Have you been impressed by him? You think we've got a good manager, Afzal?
There's been pros to his reign and there's been cons to his reign. I'll start with the pros first. The pros is that I believe the results have been all right compared to Emery's reign in the early season. We've won 4, drawn 5, lost 1 with him in the league, and we've won 8, drawn 5, lost 2 with him in all competitions. In our last 8 league games, we haven't lost. The results-wise, it's been decent. I think we've had great performances for the Man U game and the Newcastle game. However, what my grudge against him is that he's playing the players which have failed us in the last few years. And I believe those players will not get us back on track. And that's maybe you can say he doesn't have many options, fair enough. But players like, yes, Mustafi has improved under Arteta. I'll give anyone that. That's true. But Mustafi isn't the answer forward, nor is Granit Xhaka, nor is Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, but you just said he's getting the best out of them, though.
No, Mustafi has improved. Mesut Ozil, he's not getting the best out of. Mesut Ozil has performed well he's had 1 great game since Arteta's come, which was the Man U game.
He's improved, isn't he?
Xhaka's slightly improved, but he's still giving the ball away, Robbie. He's still having misplaced passes. I mean, in my opinion,
who should he be playing then?
See, my standout player was Saka under Arteta's reign, and Torreira, who was playing very bad under Emery, has also improved under Arteta. But Arteta drifted Torreira out the team for some reason.
No, but let me ask you, just going back to what you just said, right? So, Mustafi, you said, Xhaka, and Ozil. So who should he play instead? Because you said that your grudge is in playing those 3 players.
Mustafi,
who should he be playing instead?
Saliba will probably replace Mustafi.
No, but hold on, wait. Saliba hasn't been here yet. He doesn't come until next season. Who should he be playing instead? You said you're saying it's one of the cons.
Mari. I know he's only played 2 games, but Mari. He came in Jan. Arteta came end of December.
Right.
So maybe give Mari a shout, more often.
But Mari didn't come till the end of January.
Okay, yeah, but then Mari only started playing on the 2nd of March when we played Portsmouth.
Yeah, he's getting himself up to speed, isn't he? You just expect him to come and just drop immediately and.
After a week or two, yeah. Okay.
Who should he have played instead of Xhaka then?
Torreira was not starting after last few games. Torreira.
All right, and who should he play instead of Ozil?
Anyone there. Anyone. I don't even want to talk, like, I've said all what's to be said about him in the last few years. I don't want to keep making it about him, but like against Man United, he was class against Man United. I'll be the first to admit it. Man United, he was world class. I'll admit it. But there's no good being world class every 15 games. You've got to have a bit of consistency.
But going back to Mustafi, yeah, he's done well under.
Yeah, like I said, he's improved.
What's the problem in playing him then? What you got something against him or something? Because if the manager said, right, you know what, Mustafi, I'm going to throw you in this game, man, but deliver for me. I believe in you. I think that you can perform better than what you've been doing. And then he comes in and he does a job, and then consistently he's been playing well until he got injured. He was doing well. Why have you still got a problem with him playing him?
Mustafi, Robbie, has improved under Arteta. It's 100% true, but I don't think he's the answer forward. I'm looking at forward. Like, I'm not saying I don't want Arteta out. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him out. I'm going to give him time. I think so far he's done a decent job, but I just want these players replaced. Mustafi, Xhaka, Ozil, and Lacazette. If we can get 4 players to replace them, then Arteta can do a good job.
All right. What about you, Livz?
I've been happy with him. I've been happy with him, to be fair. I feel like what he's done, his whole intention of coming to the club, building a relationship between the players within each other, the fans, like uniting the fans with the club way more, and actually coming out and showing the early intention that he wants to bring Arsenal back to where it was. And I feel like he's been very convincing. His attitude, I'm watching his whole energy on the touchline. I'm seeing the way he's bringing the best out of these players. Like, for example, like Mustafi, I know people have been giving him stick. I've been giving him stick, but I feel like since Arteta's been at the club, Mustafi, he's just been playing great. I feel like him and Luiz, that partnership there, that was a partnership I wouldn't even think that they will be playing well together, and they've actually proved me wrong. David Luiz as well. He's brought the best out of David Luiz. He's kind of brought back confidence into Granit Xhaka. So you can tell with Arteta, a lot of these players will actually react. He kind of shows his managerial side and bringing the best out of them. Mesut Ozil as well. Like Ozil, even when Emery's last couple of games, Ozil's playing well. When Arteta's coming, Ozil has been playing good as well. But Arteta does know. He knows. Arteta knows he's got. Arteta knows what type of players he wants to bring on. You get Arteta. He knows. Remember, you can't really. It's not like he can just tell Mustafi, "Look, Mustafi, I'm not playing you." He's giving everybody a chance, but he has to get to the summer transfer window. You get. He's bought Pablo Mari in January transfer window. You know, just to add a bit of competition to the defenders. But Arteta does know what he needs, and he needs to show the players, this is what I'm trying to do, and whoever reacts well to it, they'll be a part of his plans. I look already, Maitland-Niles reports that he hasn't really liked playing at right back. Arteta's kind of given him that role, you know. I see you as a right back, and Maitland-Niles is not happy with it, so he's kind of left him out of the team. Guendouzi, who was always starting a lot under Emery, Arteta's leaving him out of the team, just showing him this is how you'll be at when you're playing under me. So I feel like he's come in and he's put his foot down on the ground, and that's impressed me. He still needs to be back end of the day. Granit Xhaka, he's managed to, you know, bring Xhaka out of his shell now. He's come into the club and he's told Xhaka, I trust in you. Not saying Xhaka's our best midfielder or anything, but him and Torreira together, I feel like that's our best partnership in that current midfield.
Let me get into a few of the comments that are coming in here. Teddy G says, Afzal's still hating on Ozil, even in quarantine.
Because Robbie, like, what is this? He's been at our club for 7 years and he's had like half a great season. I mean, it's time to.
Half a great season.
A lot of people with that.
Only he's only Robbie, okay, Robbie.
Half a great season? That's a disrespect.
Okay, Robbie, just say, for example, you're looking at it from the outside. You don't support Arsenal, right? How would you rate Ozil's Arsenal career? You don't support Arsenal, by the way. You're looking at it from the outside.
It's been up and down. I've said that. I've been quite...
More downs than ups, for sure.
Sorry?
More downs than ups. Especially in the last few years.
It's been, I'd say, if I was marking his time at Arsenal out of 10, it'd be a 6/7 I'd be giving him.
Yeah, I agree. 6/7.
Very generous. Very, very generous.
What would you give him?
Jeez, man. Honestly,
what would you give him?
3. 3. Yeah. 3.
All right,
that's harsh. That's very harsh.
That's much more.
Remember, Ozil nearly won us the league.
Hold on, guys. Sam James says
really won the league. We were 10 points behind Leicester.
But it wasn't his fault. Look how much assists he had.
Hold on. Sam James says Torreira is such a myth. Plays well for Uruguay, but has not shown anything special at Arsenal. Again, he hasn't really, has he? So far, has he?
No.
I disagree with that. I feel like Torreira, when he started his career at Arsenal under Emery, he started off with a bang. I feel like it all went wrong in the second season, where Emery's second season, where he started to play Torreira in a more advanced role. I feel like that's where people started looking at Torreira and, you know, looking at him differently. But they don't understand that was Emery not doing the right thing. Since Arteta's come, he's put Torreira back to where he's.
Even Arteta hasn't always played him, so he's left him out quite a few games as well.
Because he was tired. He didn't want to burn him out.
All right, let's get some more comments. Take Me Back says, Afzal, world class Ozil. He said, laugh out loud. He said, he was class when surrounded by stars. Now he's been exposed. And I suppose Afzal would agree with that one. So he's backing you, Afzal.
Yeah, a few good players.
Manu Gunner says that Icardi is a pain. He won't work well. He's not worth it. And Shoaib says we should play Joe Willock instead of Özil. Would you agree with that, Afzal?
Well, Joe Willock usually plays a bit back. He's a proper CM. But see, I'd even play Martinelli there, because since Martinelli isn't getting in the team right now, I'd play him over Özil as well. He can play CAM, he can play CM, you know. I'd play Martinelli there.
Okay, more comments coming in. Mr. Rotten says Robbie is really pro Mustafi. It's not a matter of listen, people, this is my opinion, yeah. If somebody is doing well, you have to big him up for that. If he's doing poorly, you criticize him for doing poorly. But Mustafi was, I think we all agreed that he was very, very poor. Made too many mistakes, hasn't done good enough for Arsenal. But since Arteta's come in, I would argue that he has been our best defender since Arteta's come in. And that's all you can ask for a player, is do your best. And he's been producing. So it's not a matter of whether I want to be pro Mustafi. I do want to be pro Mustafi. I want him to do that week in, week out. Then we maybe wouldn't need to go and get a rush out and buy a centre back if he's delivering week in, week out. JC says Afzal had on an agenda.
No, there's no agenda here. There's no agenda. Facts, truthful facts.
You upset the Özil fans here, man. You know what I mean?
Truthful facts.
Yeah. Zaid says, I would swap Aubameyang for Icardi all day. The man was unreal at Inter, and their captain. People forget that he was their captain. Their captain as well had a very good half a season with PSG, and much younger than Aubameyang. And with all my love and respect for Aubameyang, listen, I want to keep. I'm desperate for us to keep Aubameyang, but if he left, Icardi's quality. That's in my opinion. You guys don't quite agree, but in my opinion, I think he's quality. Lone Star says conversation about Aubameyang is an illusion. He's leaving. The issue is improving and replacing the defensive players. Majority awful. 9 wins in 28 games. Abysmal. And let's get a couple more before we get back to you guys. Mike Dennis said, just let Özil's contract run down. No team will take him off us, especially with his wages. I think we all know that. And get another one. There was one other one I was just trying to. Peter Butler said, if I was in charge of Arsenal, I'd keep Aubameyang, even if it means leaving for a free in a year. If his goals get Arsenal back into the Champions League, then we can get a good replacement. And that's from a Liverpool fan. We haven't touched on it. How are you guys feeling about the season coming back? Because obviously the Bundesliga has returned. Well, is returning, should I say. It hasn't returned yet, but it's going to be returning in the middle of May. That's, they've confirmed that. They've carried out all the tests on all the players. I think 1,724 tests they've carried out on players and staff, etc. Only returned back 10 positives. They brought in all kinds of plans where the players will be in quarantine 2 weeks before the season starts. They're getting it back on. Are you confident that it will come back here? Liv, we'll start with you, Livz. Confident that the league will get started back here in the UK?
Yeah, definitely should. I think they're going to start with a behind closed doors match and probably lead it all the way up to October, where fans can be allowed back in, according to Boris Johnson's 5-step scheme. But I feel like the right thing to do is to continue the season and make sure like it gets finished. I feel like Liverpool getting robbed of a title, I feel like that'll ruin the integrity of the league.
Okay. What about you, Afzal?
I think you 100% have to continue the season when it's safe to do so. The most important thing is the safety and the health of everyone. And they have to continue the season when it's safe to do so. Obviously, like I said, health comes first, but for financial reasons, for clubs in the Premier League, because if they don't continue the season, a lot of clubs are in big trouble. Let's get that right.
I think the only thing is, you know, and obviously my understanding is they're watching the Bundesliga very close, and if that all works out, they're looking to get that on. But then we've got to remember that in Germany, there's only been 7,000 deaths. Over here, with 30,000 and counting. And will it be safe? I mean, if it's not safe to continue on, do we just void it and start next year?
Let me say, Robbie, we can't. There's no such thing as we're not allowed to void the season. UEFA have said if it's a void season, that means no teams can be in the Champions League next year. And null and void means season is completely scrapped. That means there's no such thing. The season never existed. Dutch did not void the season because they've given teams Champions League places and Europa League places. They've done it per standings, but the reason why they didn't give title winners is because there was on goal difference. That's why. No teams have voided their league. France didn't void their league. Belgium didn't. Scotland aren't, and Dutch haven't. Null and void means the season never existed. That means you can't go into Champions League next year. You can't go into Europa League. If the season is cancelled, there's a difference between cancelled and null and void. If the season ends now, that means they've cancelled the season. However, they will put teams as per UEFA request. They'll put teams through to the Champions League. They'll put teams through to the Europa League. And in my opinion, they 100% have to award Liverpool the title. 100%. How can you deny? How can you deny?
Hold on, why is that?
How can you deny a team a title, Robbie, who's 25 points clear with 9 games to go?
They haven't won it.
They've won it. Look, Robbie, we know they've won it.
They haven't won it.
Robbie, then it ruins the integrity of the competition. It ruins the whole competition.
They haven't won it.
But
Not yet. They haven't won it yet.
Wait. No, it ruins the integrity of the competition if you just award somebody something.
Was anyone complaining when PSG won it?
Huh?
Was anyone?
Apparently, from what I've heard over in, listen, they are complaining bitterly over there in France right now. Lyon are threatening to sue the league, everything, and that. The only reason they've been able to do that in France is apparently they have something written into their league that says if it is cancelled, then you award it to that team that was at the top. But that's not written in over here.
Belgium, they're going to award it to Club Brugge. Scotland are most likely going to award it to Celtic. See, Robbie, this would be the most fair solution.
To me, it's a fake. It's a fake.
No, Robbie, listen. Okay, so Robbie, okay. I want to ask you this: if Arsenal were in that position, what would you say?
Of course, I would want it, but it still wouldn't be right.
You would say we have to win it, correct?
Listen, of course I would be. Listen, we're biased towards our own team, but if I'm being real here right now, you cannot give somebody something that they ain't done yet. You can't say, oh, you've won. They ain't won it. If they've won it, they'd have the trophy already, wouldn't they? They haven't.
Okay. Then it ruins the integrity of the competition.
All right, let me ask you this, right? If you give Liverpool the title, does that mean you relegate the 3 teams at the bottom?
That's what I was going to say. So Premier League teams have to vote. They have to vote on. No. You know.
At least a playoff or something.
No. So listen, Robbie, the most fair solution. I will not relegate anyone because the tape it's too close to call. But I'd give Liverpool the title.
No, hold on. So what you're doing is you're doing one. So I had the same thing with Drifty last week. So there's one rule at the top. Liverpool here, that's yours. But then at the bottom now, we've got who've got a game in hand, but are in the bottom 3. And if they won that game in hand, they would be above those, and out of the bottom 3, they would get relegated. Or you're gonna ask turkeys to vote for Christmas.
No, because what the Premier League will do, in my opinion, is if they cannot, hopefully they'll finish the season. If they cannot finish the season, Premier League teams usually have to vote on the outcome, and I think the majority will say no relegation, and the majority will say title.
I've got some cards here. Yeah? Arsenal cards, actually.
You know what's fair.
What we do, we go like this. We go up to all the clubs and say, pick a card. Yeah. What do you pick, Villa? Oh, 2. All right. What have you picked, Norwich?
That's the rule, Robbie.
You picked 8. You're not relegated. Villa go down. Come on, man. We can't do that. You can't do that, man. You can't.
Robbie, what about if we do a playoff?
Yeah, not for the title, but for relegation.
No,
yes,
for the relegation teams. Let them do a playoff. Let Liverpool or any rest of the other teams have at least matches behind closed doors, and then
no. We're talking about if that's not possible.
All right, Robbie,
if that's not possible.
Sorry, 1 second. Let me just do this comment that came in. It's Cody. He's been waiting a while. Cody said Torreira hasn't been given a consistent chance to play in his position as CDM. Once he's given that chance, I'm positive he'll come good. So sorry, Cody, that we had that on hold for so long. But going back to it, right? Remember, Livz, what we're talking about is the season being, well, we won't use the word voided, according to Afzal, cancelled. Yeah? Then now the season, that means no games can't play. So forget playoffs and all those things. It's been cancelled. Say the government have come out and they said it's not safe, no games, right? No games until October, like what they did in France and what they've done in Holland, yeah? So there's no games, so there's no playoffs. What do? You've made Liverpool the champions. That means you've got to send people down. You can't have it one rule at the top and a different rule at the bottom.
That's what
happens to the integrity then?
If you read what's happening, that's what they could do.
Well, it's
Health and safety comes first.
Fake.
But
as Donald Trump would say, fake news. Fake, that'd be a fake title and fake relegation. You can't do that. You've just got to cancel everything and start again.
Do you know it was going to be the biggest title win in history? If they complete it, it still will be the biggest title win in history. It probably would have been the record points. But then, Robbie, that it's unfair. You know it deep down.
Of course it's unfair. Of course it's unfair. The coronavirus is unfair.
I think
dying is unfair. People dying is unfair. You know what I mean? People not being able to get PPE when they're working in a hospital is unfair. You know what I mean? It's how it goes, man. What do you want? What? There's nothing we would be able to do about that situation. It's not of anybody's making. Nobody's trying to take the title away from Liverpool. But I'm just saying, when you talk about integrity, you can't make one rule for the people at the top and switch it for the people at the bottom because it's all one league. So you're talking about the integrity of the league. You can't do anything. You just got to say, we start again next year.
What about Champions League places? Because UEFA have said you have to put teams through to the Champions League.
My solution to that has always been, and it wouldn't be great for us, but my position has always been that you just have to make the teams that were in the Champions League last year re-enter back the Champions League. The teams that were in the Europa League last year re-enter back the Europa League. You look at even more ridiculous is the top four. Forget Liverpool for a minute, yeah, because we knew that they would eventually have won the title.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no certain team with 10 games left, apart from Liverpool. None of those other teams are certain of getting into the top four. Not one of them.
But on UEFA's rules, UEFA have said.
Well, it's wrong. It's wrong. You're giving away to me. That's when the integrity of the league is over. That's when I think the integrity of the league is gone. You can't be handing out things. Oh, I think it would have went this way, or maybe it would have went. No, you've got to cancel it, and you've got to say, right, coronavirus defeated the Premier League. We start again next season.
In my opinion, they might do PPG, points per game basis. You know what that means? We finish ahead of Spurs. How would you react?
Would you still don't get Champions League though?
Finish on. Let's finish the league on FIFA, as some people have suggested. Is that your next suggestion?
Fake? Would you call it fake if we finish ahead of Spurs on PPG or?
Listen, PPG, PPL,
that must be
KRS. You know what I mean? KSI. I don't listen.
So Robbie, would you want to avoid it?
Season, just start again next year. If you can't finish it properly,
but we got to finish. Hopefully, it finishes for the sake of the Premier League. Hopefully, it finishes.
It's unfortunate, not unfair. I agree with it. Liverpool.
So you want to avoid it, Robbie?
Whereas this guy says, Robbie, you're deluded. I'm not deluded. You're real.
Robbie, you want to avoid the league?
Robbie,
listen. Hopefully, there's nothing I want more than the season to finish. I want them to play the games, and it's looking like the games will be played behind closed doors, right? So the only thing that slightly worries me, of course, is that, the Bundesliga starting in Germany. They're miles ahead of us when it comes to this corona. They've dealt with it much better than we have. We've had over 30,000 deaths. They've only had 7,000. So they're starting from a point of, they're ahead of us. They've got more tests going on. They're on top of this thing more than what we are. So we're behind them. If we can get to where they are, fair enough, let's finish the league. If we can do it safely, nothing I would want more than to finish it. But I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there that if we couldn't get to that point where we couldn't finish the league, I'm not for this handing out things. I'm not for this PPE, KRSI or whatever. And, oh yeah, even if we did finish above Tottenham, I'm not for it. I'm just like, you'd have to just start again. That's the only right thing to do there, you know? Let's get a few more comments here. Peter Butler says, the logic, Liverpool can't get the league because it's not mathematically won. Should also mean that they're the only team in the Champions League next season, as they're the only ones who mathematically qualify. But no, I'd look on it this way and say, just go with the teams that got in it last year, which means Liverpool would still be in it. But, you know, that's how you'd have to do it. Mr. Rotten says, Afzal is simply wrong. It's unfair to relegate teams, and nothing has been mathematically...
I said it's unfair to relegate teams. I said...
Tony Frankson says, Robbie is jealous of Liverpool. I think everybody's jealous of Liverpool. Of course I'm jealous of Liverpool because of what they've done on the pitch. They've been outstanding, right? And they've been brilliant, and they deserve to win the league. But do Liverpool fans, I've said it a million times on it, do you want the league just handed to you? Like, yeah, you didn't win it, but here it is, you know? Trent Singh says, either way, there are no winners. I hope the season's finished. It'll be interesting to see how the Bundesliga cope. You know, well, there will be winners if Liverpool get to. I hope Liverpool do get to finish the league and win it. I think it's going to be a real shame for Liverpool because they're not going to be able to celebrate it properly because of you behind closed doors. They won't be able to celebrate with their fans. Fans won't be able to line the streets, but it'd be really sad for Liverpool in that way. But if it's not finished, you can't just be handing out things. Would you pick lots for the top four? Forget Liverpool for a minute. Afzal, what do you do for the top four? We pick lots.
I would do it, like I said, if we can't finish it, PPG.
PPG. What do we do at the bottom? What do we do at the bottom?
At the bottom, I wouldn't do relegation.
So then,
I think they might.
What do you think of the integrity of the league then, if you did that?
Robbie, either way, any scenario, the integrity will be ruined, but it depends how much you want to ruin it. For example, if you can't give a team a title which is 25 points clear, then it's completely done. Because that means, what if something like this? What if something unfortunate like this happens next season? It's possible.
George says, Robbie, it's like a racehorse and a fence clear with one to jump. What's the difference? Just say they won the race.
It's completely different. Listen. The only reason why everyone's saying it is because a certain team are top of the league. That's the only reason.
Bad Boy says, Liverpool, so you can see he's not a fan of Liverpool already have an asterisk next to them. Surely they don't want to.
He's probably a Man U fan.
Okay, he sounds like one. Finishing the league, Kent and Sussex DJ says, finishing the league behind closed doors is still unfair on teams. It's not a level playing field. That's the other thing. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? There's been a lot of teams moaning, saying that, you know, they don't like this fact that it's going to be on neutral territory. How do you feel about that?
A lot of the small teams, I feel like I understand where they're coming from because they're gonna need their home ground, you know, just for that support, that extra push.
Right. It's the same for everyone. It's the same for every team.
But certain small teams, they prefer playing in their home ground. You know what I mean? Just for the advantage because they really need the points to beat the drop.
Do you know? I saw this police guy come out today, and he was like saying that, you know, some of these Premier League teams really need to get real with. And stop moaning about certain things. And I was like, you know what? He's talking so much sense. It's a coronavirus crisis, unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened in the history of sport, right? And these men are moaning about, I want to play on my own ground.
It's true.
I mean, do you want the season to finish or not? In the case of those teams that are carrying like that, I just relegate them.
Yeah.
When I see that, I'm that like when I said the guy at Brighton, and I'm like, yo, What do you want? Do you want the thing to finish? Well, he probably doesn't because he's slightly out of the
relegated.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's just doing it for their own thing. If you're doing it for the proper integrity of the league, the man are trying to get the thing completed, and they're trying to find a way to complete it. And obviously, you can't spread it around all the grounds with the, you know, you're going to need how much police and stuff like that. So they're trying to do it in a way in which they can get it complete. And there's man moaning about, oh, we want to play on our own ground and our own grass. Oh, please, man.
So Robbie, what neutral grounds would you want it played on?
I know that Arsenal's one of the neutral grounds. So they've suggested Wembley. They've suggested, you know, different grounds around the country, so that teams don't have to travel too far. You can, you know, keep everybody quarantined up at certain hotels. They ain't gonna have to travel around too much. That's the whole reason why they're thinking of doing that. Not to mess people up, but if you want to get the league finished, you know, how else can you do it? And then these teams that are moaning, too much moaning at the moment, actually. You know what I mean? Because, you know,
they just got to get on with it. They just got to get on with it.
Exactly.
Be professional about it. Just get on with it.
What fans don't realize, you know, everyone who's saying void it, void it, void it, void it, void it, don't complete it. What they don't realize is that the difference between completing the season and not completing the season will be the difference between signing top players and not signing top players. If we don't complete the season, I've read we're due to lose about 80 to 100 million. And that is signing a top player, not signing a top player. Why would people void the season just because one team doesn't win the league? Nah, not for me.
Holder says, I like Robbie's idea of the same teams as last year because it would take the Europa League. I would take the Europa League considering it was a worry we wouldn't even qualify for any European competition. That's not the reason why I said it. I'm just looking at solutions to the problem, and I'm just like, the only way I can see it is that way, is that you'd have to just say, you know, that's the only way I see you could get teams into Europe. Beatbox Dre says, Robbie, if one player in Germany gets it during the course of the next few weeks, they should just void it and go from the last season over here. I don't know. I think it's because one player could get it, but if they've already had 10 people test positive out of. But look, think of the numbers: 1,724 tests. 10 people have tested positive. They've isolated those people away from the rest of the players. They'll be testing people constantly. Yeah. I was sort of saying this last night. There has to be. You have to try and find a solution to it, innit? I mean, you know. I don't know. It's such a hard thing because it's unprecedented. This has never happened before, you know. I mean, he says it will be unfair on Sheffield United, Robbie. It's unfair on everybody right now.
Sheffield United.
Everyone's going through it. It's not just Sheffield United. Everyone's suffering. What about all the relegated teams? What about all the teams at the bottom that are being told they might be relegated? Like, it could happen either way. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone is kind of going through it in their own possible way. But if a player in the Bundesliga contracts it and it gets worse, I feel like then they've got to put health and safety first and void it personally and restart again. Same thing as the season that we started, just carry on from next season.
Yeah, I mean,
just to be fair, no one can moan them.
And who would you give it to?
What, the league? What, the German league?
Oh, you saw the German league, yeah.
I'm talking about the German league, yeah. Just void. Like if a player contracts it now that it restarts, then the best thing is to void it, because if that could happen in the German league, what about if it happens in the Premier League if it gets restarted, or in the La Liga or Serie A? And the best thing, just like you said, restart it.
Ami says, "What's Afzal going to say next?"
I haven't said anything. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot what the media is saying as well. Like, it's not just me saying it. There's a lot of people saying that, you know. People are saying go on last year's competitions, but what? Spurs get in the Champions League for having a bad season this season. I mean, Leicester don't get in.
They're not going to win it anyways.
I don't want to see Spurs in the Champions League, but I think it would be the only fair way to do it, if I'm being honest. You go with what happened last year, then you just say, boy, I mean, we weren't able to complete this year, so it just has to almost like we're starting again.
But we played nearly 80% of the season. We can't pretend it didn't happen.
It ain't finished, is it?
We can't pretend it didn't happen.
not finished though.
We're not pretending it didn't happen. We're saying, boy, we weren't able to finish it.
But UEFA have said it has to be on this year's sporting merit. So,
well, I you know, again, you're handing out things. I mean, listen, the amount of, I wouldn't, you know, as an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't want it like that because it'd be pure banter off of every fan. They'd be like, "Yo, you never won that. You win it." No, we were 25 points ahead. You didn't win it, bro. That's what we say.
As an Arsenal fan, that would hurt me.
Yeah,
because
you know already. You already know. Man United fans, they got that lined up. Lined up for Liverpool fans. You know what I mean? You didn't win it. You didn't.
But deep down, those teams bantering know they were actually going to win it. So I'd be like, if it was Arsenal, I'd be like, yeah, but you knew we were going to win it.
Yeah, but it never happened. Imagine that. There's no point saying it was good. We were going to win it. It didn't happen.
Afzal getting some support here. Big up Afzal. He's coming with research, and he's been and what's been said in the media. Interesting debate, guys. See, big up Afzal.
See, what I'm saying is what's gonna happen. Either they'll finish. I think they'll finish it, and if they can't, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and another person backing you, Afzal here, Lewis James says we played 80%, not 10%.
I didn't say. Oh yeah,
no, yeah. But he's making the point that, you know. Uzia saying fans will be outside the stadium too. Then what will you do about the social distance? Well, fans will be told not to go to the stadium, you know. So
yeah, fans will be for another at least 6 months. That's one thing I'll say.
Even that is, you know. Con says Afzal is a secret Liverpool supporter.
I'm just talking. Look,
I agree.
Let me tell you something, right? Fair. I'm just talking about, like, you know what I mean? Like, if okay, right.
You always use Liverpool though to always back your points.
So was in that position, you two would both be saying different things. That's my opinion. If it was Leicester,
listen, right? If it was Arsenal there, we probably would be saying different things. It don't mean it's right. Right? The right thing to do when you talk about the integrity of the league, the right thing to do is, if we cannot, and I'm hoping that we can complete it, but if we cannot complete it, you can't just be handing out things. You have that. And I'll tell you what, Chelsea, you have that. And Leicester, yeah, I reckon you would have been all right. So you take that place. And, boy, you know what? No, I'm not too sure about you. So could you imagine Man United, right? If a big club like Man United with the big funds and that they have, right? Could you imagine? They'd be straight onto the Lloyds if they didn't get into the Champions League places. They're 1 point off it, aren't they?
3 points. 3 points off it. But if City's ban doesn't get upheld, then they get in Champions League.
Yeah, but they'll be straight onto the, you know. So,
see, don't get me wrong. If it was 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, I'd be saying exactly what you guys are saying. But because it's that much of a gap, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
It's Harish has got he says, how about combine the 2019-20 season and 2020-21 on 38 plus 38, then add the points tables. Laugh out loud. Afzal, I support your view. Man, Robbie, you're being biased.
Robbie is being biased.
Actually, not a bad idea, you know. You add up. No, because then Liverpool will win it again because they'd be 25 points ahead. But my point I'm making is that you can't just give out things, man. You can't just give it out, Afzal.
But they might have to. I mean, it's still going to go down the record.
It's not earned, Afzal. You've got to earn it. You've got to earn it.
Yeah, I agree with Livz.
You've got to earn it.
What happens? But let's just hope, for everyone's sake, they finish the season so it's won fairly, and for other teams get relegated fairly, and Champions League places are sorted fairly.
Okay, look, we're going to do a couple more because we're running out of time on the show. It's been a brilliant show. It's absolutely flown past. You two have been brilliant on it. Let me get a couple more. Thankfully, Afzal, what you got to learn is when you come on here, though, if you ever go at Ozil, they're going in on you hard.
Yeah, of course. I really expect that.
Respect the Mesut. Respect the Mesut.
I mean, it will be, you know, when he goes at the end of the season, that will relieve a a big amount of money off of the wage bill. You know, last couple of comments anyway. Declan says, Robbie, you're banned from Liverpool. I know I'm going to get a lot of stick. I've been getting stick for Liverpool fans. And Darren says, Afzal is a Liverpool fan.
Where's this VAR coming from? Jeez, man, honestly, it's hilarious. I hate Robbie, I hate Man U, I hate Tottenham, I hate Chelsea. I don't hate Liverpool. Like, what have they done to Arsenal ever?
Yeah.
Henry, for sure.
Right, we're gonna finish off the show now. Let me just ask you guys, finally before you go, as we've been sort of touching on the Ozil thing, just quickly actually, what did you feel like? Because I haven't had a chance to speak to either of you two on it. What did you feel about the whole Ozil not wanting to take the pay cut? Livz, what was he right or wrong?
I respected his decision. Like, Ozil's a guy that he does a lot of charity work. He does a lot of good things for the lesser fortunate people. But if it was his decision to not want to take a pay cut, then it's up to him. I feel like we're not in a position, to overrule that. It's between him and the club. So I feel like if Ozil felt like he didn't want to take a pay cut for his own personal reason that we don't know, maybe he knows, then so be it. But I feel like the media, what they were trying to do is they were trying to kind of tarnish him. They weren't really shedding enough light on on all of his charity work and all the good things he does with his money. They kind of like made it look like, Ozil was just about his money, etc., etc. And I feel like that was a bit wrong for me.
It is up to him at the end of the day if he wanted to take the cut or not. Like Liv says, he does do a lot of charity work, which I respect and appreciate a lot, of course. But in my opinion, yes, if all the players are taking the pay cut, then he did need to take the pay cut, just out of respect for the club. But at the end of the day, it's his choice. Obviously, I don't agree with it, but it's his choice, and he does do a lot for charity. So, yeah.
Okay, well, listen, thank you very much, you guys. I know you've both been doing Ramadan. You've been fasting, both of you, right? Yeah. Ramadan, so you can go and get something to eat now, right? Because you know what, I've had like a friend of mine. He's challenged me to do a day.
Bro, do it, please do it.
Listen, I can do the food, but it's the no water thing.
I know.
How you handle the no water thing, man?
You know what you do, yeah? You see, for Fajr, before when you have that time limit where you can eat, just drink a lot of water. Don't really eat a lot in the night. Drink a lot of water, and you'll be all right for the next day.
Okay, and how long you got? How many more weeks you got?
2 more.
I think we've done 15, 16 days so far, right?
So it's gonna end Sunday the 24th. So we've got about 2 weeks and 2 days left.
2 weeks left, yeah.
That's a long time, man. Anyway, listen, good luck with that. Well done to you guys for doing that, and well done for coming on the show tonight. Really appreciate it. It's been a brilliant show. Thank you very much. Thanks to Afzal, and also thanks to Livz, and thanks to everybody out there. What we're going to be doing very soon, actually, is so many of you comment on every show that we're going to be getting. We're going to get an email address where you can let us know if you want to be part of the show. I want to get some of you guys involved as well, right? So look out for that. And also coming up this weekend, we've got some really top guests coming on, so look out for that as well. Thanks for watching the show. We'll be back in the morning with the early edition.